You know, if you go out for a hike in your neighborhood during the winter and the streets are icy, or if you go out for a run and you slip and fall, you can injure yourself, sometimes quite seriously. At the minimum, you're going to be inconvenienced by some pain and soreness and put out of action for a while. More seriously, you could end up going to the hospital. Still inconvenient, but not necessarily life-threatening. Do the same thing 10 kilometers into the woods, and you're now in a survival situation. Slipping on the ice can result in fractures to the hand, to the elbow, certainly to your knee or to your hip. Even worse is where you just strike your head on the way down. Hand and elbow, you could probably make your way out of the woods. Uncomfortably, but it won't stop you from moving. Hurt your knee or hurt your hip, and you're in a really bad situation. Knock yourself out by hitting your head against a rock, and it's likely they won't find you until spring. What can you do about it? Well, I know all of us are wearing good footwear out in the woods these days, but this time of year, at least in Nova Scotia, and I'm sure this is elsewhere, we often get snow followed by rain, followed by warmer temperatures, followed by colder temperatures, and that results in a lot of ice on the paths. So I was out recently, and I was out for a hike, and I discovered that I was slipping and sliding a little bit, and I was being very cautious about where I put my feet. And I thought there had to be something I could do to improve my traction, improve my confidence on where I was placing my feet. And I looked online, and I went to Mountain Equipment Co-op here in Halifax, and I put the money down. It's not often I put this kind of money down on something, but I was that confident that this was a product that I wanted to get. And they are the Kahtoola Microspikes. And I brought the Kahtoola Microspikes out today for a first test. This is not a review, this is a preview, if you will, and some testing. And I'm going to get some footage of me using these spikes as I go around. But they're $79, and that's not cheap. I'm using them now, and I find that I do have a sense of confidence using them, and there's a lot to be said for them, and I'll give you some close-ups in a few minutes. But before I come out, I thought, what else could I use to improve my traction? So I have some other items that I want to show you that are less expensive. Are they as effective? I'll let you be the judge from some of the footage. So join me as I try out my Kahtoola traction spikes, or microspikes, out on the ice of Susie Lake and in the pathways around our area. So this is the Kahtoola Microspikes. They have a polymer plastic, or polymer, I don't know if I'd call it a silicone or not, that is very stretchy. Now, I wondered if they'd be stretchy in cold weather. It's only about -3 degrees Celsius right now, so that's not very cold. But they seem to be. They seem to be stretching quite a bit. Makes them easy to put on over the shoes. But what they are is an elastomer top section which grabs around your boot, and I'll show you that on the boot in a second. And on the bottom is a series of interconnected chains and spikes. And the spikes are stainless steel. They have a 1/2-inch projection. They come to quite a sharp point. And they crisscross the bottom of the boot, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plates of spikes. And so they spread across the forefoot and the heel. And when you put these on, the elastomer will stretch up around the top of your boots, bringing the chains and everything into tension. Not extremely tight. In fact, they are a little loose, and that's actually one of the design features of it, and I'll explain. So putting them on is quite easy. I'll show them on my boot in a second. Again, I don't have a lot of experience with these. This is my first time out with these, but I'm excited, to be quite honest. So the design is intended. Now, first off, I should probably point out, Kahtoola has been in the market of making mountaineering crampons for a number of years. So this is no newcomer, no somebody who's just guessing about what it takes to make a good traction spike. These are people that have been doing it for professional mountain climbers for a lot of years. But what they produce is an alternative to regular mountain climbing crampons. You know, they have big plates and long spikes, and you know, they're absolutely essential if you're climbing the side of a mountain or a glacier. But for anything else, they're overkill. In fact, they'd be awkward. Awkward getting on and off your boots, awkward just walking around where it's not a lot of ice or snow. So this fills that gap. And what it does, the chain system, with that little bit of looseness, so far, and this is just my first test, having walking through some snowy areas, it prevents buildup of snow, or snowballing as it's referred to, in the bottom of the shoe. I have that experience with Yak Tracks, which I'll talk about in a second. So yeah, unbelievable. The traction on these things. You'll see some footage of me running up down the side of a hill, running across a glaze of ice on the lake here, and it's almost overkill. You almost want your feet to slide a little bit sometimes, and these don't let you. I almost feel like I could climb the side of a tree. I did go over some wet logs, wet and mossy logs that had some ice on top of them, and no problem. Now that doesn't replace good common sense and traction, but what it does for me is it gives me a sense of confidence going up and down the trails around where I like to hike, which is a combination of woodland, ups and downs over granite rock, often with ice that's been built up on it from snow melt and refreezing. Going over the granite, I was a little worried that these would be maybe even slip on the granite, but that's not the case. So in the frozen earth, on the ice, in the packed down snow, unbelievable, just unbelievable. So let me give you a close-up of what this looks like on the boots. So I do have my boot unlaced right now because I wanted to take this off and show you it on the boot, but I think what I'll do is I'll show you myself putting them on. So again, not a lot of experience with them, so if it looks a little awkward, it's only because I'm just learning how to put these things on, but let's give it a go. Alright, they're on. Little adjusting, get them to just where I want them. Now you'll probably notice that there is something else on the bottom of my shoes, and I'll explain what those are in a second, but for now I just wanted to show you what the Microspikes looks like on the boot. Okay.